Well, guess what? I forgot to do the opening thing because I wanted to give you guys a little break from it. I just did the very opening and then I went to myself. But good to see you guys here. Welcome back once again. Let everybody climb in and get on the stream. And yes, guys, I'm going to state something. My Saturday streams at 12 p.m. are for the public. So everybody is invited to come in on the stream. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you want to subscribe and help out the channel, then that would be appreciated. Or you could hit the like button on the stream. That'll push it out a little bit further so people can get on next week at Saturday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and join in with all the news and excitement that we always have. But we got a lot to wrap up today, so make sure you tell your friends and everything else to get on in. We got a lot to talk about, and don't forget your drink and snacks. Because you know how a 2-hour stream can be. So, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody in my Discord, while I got you all here, and I'm already live, and just let them know I'm live. So this way they didn't think that I reminded them. Ugh. I'm live on the stream. And put a smiley face there for them. I'm live on the stream. Okay. There we go. So now they know. Now give them a couple minutes to get in on the action. But I'm going to tell you, this is what we got cooking for today. Okay, I did put on the title of the video, this is episode 49, and this is 12:01 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I put on there the GPU driver chaos, 8 gigabytes of VRAM wars. What's next? Especially when my phone's going crazy. Ew. I use that as a monitoring device, guys, to make sure that I'm online. You know, I know you guys can tell me and everything else, but, you know, I mean, it is what it is. More influencers still trying to kill the 5060. Bro. There's reasons why they're doing this. Is because they got butthurt. Okay? Guys, don't take me wrong. I like everybody on YouTube as reviewers and everything else. But there's just certain things you don't do when it comes to the companies. If you got a problem with the company, take it to the company. Don't take it to the street. You're just doing that one thing. You're not just informing the community that this is going on. You're also, too, embarrassing these companies without giving them a chance to explain. Especially if you get upset because, guess what? They didn't give you the drivers on time. I'm going to tell you something. And I'm going to tell everybody in the world this. And I hope you all understand. And don't hate on me for the fact of telling you the truth. If a company gives you free hardware, and they tell you, okay, well, you need to wait till launch day to review this. Okay, remember, they don't do their launch day until 6 a.m. And the drivers could have dropped at 12:01 a.m. So yeah, you have 6 hours to benchmark one graphics card. Since you already benchmarked all your graphics cards before you even went to Taiwan. I'm not mentioning any names. So you pretty much had all the job done before you even got to Taiwan. You had one thing to do, and it does not take 6 hours to benchmark a graphics card, especially when you put out the results and told everybody I only did half of it. And then before you're like, well, you know, see, the thing is, I got the impression NVIDIA did not send out any graphics cards to anybody or any driver updates and made everybody wait till the date of launch, except for a certain few. That's what I was led to believe. But watching more of the videos, that's not the case when you got the graphics card 2 weeks before the launch day. Now I'm thinking to myself, and I'm saying, Jay, I want you guys to hear me out on this. Jay, if they had that long with that graphics card to benchmark it, what could they have done to get around the driver situation? Well, the drivers have to come out in the WHQL. So that means they're preloaded with Microsoft in advanced. Could they have gotten the drivers early from Microsoft, which nobody checked? Could have been impossible. They could have loaded it into their computer. Microsoft would have hit the updates and you would have had some kind of drivers to work with. Oh, I don't get this. I mean, all NVIDIA asked everybody to do was a pre-launch. This proved to NVIDIA that, you know, there's not many reviewers that want to become game players, that want to get on the field. This just proved to NVIDIA how bad the reviewers were acting when they did this. This proves to NVIDIA that there's no worthy reviewers out there unless they show initiative to do what they're asked. It's not they're impeding the market. It's not they want to hold anything back from the consumers. Is they're doing a test. In my eyes, they're doing a test. A test to see if the reviewers are still on board or they're doing their own thing. Instead of reviewing it under the respect of the company giving you a free graphics card. So giving this impression that you didn't get anything, oh, you got plenty out of the deal. You got a $300 graphics card and you got the drivers dropped a little bit early. This is what my resources told me. That you got them dropped at 12:01 a.m. You had 6 hours. That, if you listen to some reviewers, they said they had to do it in 6 hours. That confirms my story. So, thinking about it, I could do my review on one graphics card in detail in less than an hour. So, just to give you an idea. Yeah, I agree, bro. They are babies. I mean, it's obvious that, you know, maybe it's not that NVIDIA was muddying the waters. They're basically were testing the waters to see where they stand in the community. And obviously, they put not me, and I'm going to tell, and NVIDIA, hear me out. I didn't put nobody on that pedestal of negativeness. Even though I didn't get a graphics card, you see me complaining about it? No. I'm sure if I need one, it'll be there. But I'm not complaining about it. I can understand the reason this is being done. But obviously, the rest of the reviewers don't get it. I've been doing PC building for over three decades plus. This is not my first rodeo seeing all this. And it's a test of gesture. Because if you get a company that's in good faith putting out a graphics card to you, in good faith, why would you say they're bad faith when they're not putting out the drivers when you want them to? Not when it's respected to the company, not the reviewer. Know your role and shut your pie hole. So, you're welcome, bro. I'm Machine. I read what you wrote. You're welcome, man. Hey, Raheem. Good to see you, man. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. NVIDIA cost them some money, so they get mad. Cost them what, bro? Cost them what? What did they cost them? They cost them absolutely nothing. Time? Is that what everybody's crying about, is time? I mean, look, let me explain this to you so you understand. So you really understand me. If the consumer doesn't see a benchmark, don't you think the consumer's going to wait until they see the benchmark? 3/4 of the PC world's going to wait. Well, actually about 82%. They're going to wait for the benchmarks because they want to see before they buy. Do you actually think the consumer is that stupid to not wait for a benchmark? Question mark. So, bro, it doesn't matter when they launch the graphics cards. This is the whole point. It does not matter. Because the consumer's not going to go there to buy them until they see a benchmark, until they see and they're confident that's going to be the right card for them. They're not going to do it. I mean, I've had many people email me and say, I'm not going to buy a card until I see the benchmarks. It's obvious. It's not what NVIDIA benchmarks are. It's not what AMD benchmarks are. There's nobody in the PC world that trusts them putting out independent benchmarks from their company. It's already been said and done and written in stone years ago. Done. Okay? They wait for reviewers like us to come up with that conclusion before they go out and buy. Me, myself, I looked at the 5060, the 5060 Ti 8GB, the 5060 Ti 16GB. I even looked at the RX 9060 XT 8GB and 16GB. Which now they're saying that the 9060 XT 8GB is going to be faster than the 7600 XT 16GB. That's what some are saying. Before I read this article, which we'll go there in a moment because I pulled up the article, I was thinking to myself, even before I pulled up the articles of how this outcome was going to go. And I was right. This is basically how the outcome is going to go. That they're going to soup up the 9060 XTs to be faster than the 5060 Ti 8 and 16GB. Because the benchmarks AMD did was the 9060 XT 16 gigabyte against the 5060 Ti 8 gigabyte, trying to prove that the 9060 XT is faster than the 5060 Ti. What did I tell everybody? What did I tell you guys before? It's not normal for you to take an 8 gigabyte card and put it against a 16 gigabyte card. Never. That doesn't give you a true benchmark. If you want to go AMD against NVIDIA, they both have to be 8 gigabyte. You take your best 8 gigabyte card, NVIDIA takes their best 8 gigabyte card. Do your benchmark. That'll give you solid which one is better at that level, you know, of benchmark. But using a 16 gigabyte, there's no indirect fairness, because you know that at 8 gigabyte it's going to choke out when a 16 gigabyte can go up an extra 8. You can't put them together. That's ridiculous. It's like a hopeless dream. Basically, you're just trying to tell everybody, everybody's on 1080p. They need to get off 1080p. There ain't nobody on 1080p anymore. It's dead. It's dead. That's what a lot of reviewers are doing. It's because they want to bring in the 8K. The 8K, you know, the 8K monitors. They want to move everything up to 8K. That's why they want to kill off the 1080p. Truth where it hits. It's the truth. That's really the reason why they want to kill off 1080p, is because they want to move everything to 1440p and up and make 1440p the new low normal instead of 1080p. So, hello there, fake frame hater. 9060 XT 16 gigabytes will be best case around a RX 6800 or a 3070 Ti. But still, you're going back to the 2 generations ago. This is 2025. It should be matched with a card that's last generation. Going 2 generations or 3 or 4 or 5 generations, what does that prove? Absolutely nothing. When you play the game, it has nothing to do with the game. Not unless you're trying to sell something that's older than 8 years old to somebody, saying, you know, this is older than 8 years old, but it worked for you. But that's lying to the public, which that's untrue. Okay, I'm taking last generation to this generation. Anything beyond that, I'm not doing it anymore, because that's lying to the public. And I'm not going to do it. So, how is 8 gigabyte faster than 16 gigabyte? Well, I can tell you this. If you take away 8 gigabytes from that 16 gigabyte card and match them side by side, if you got a 9060 XT, 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, they're the same card. Only difference is one's got 8 gigabytes more than the other. Just like with the 5060 Ti, 8 and 16 gigabyte. Difference is one's got 8 gigabytes more. The constraint is if you put them both on medium settings, those cards side by side on medium settings, they'll run the exact same way. It's only when you push it to the high, to the ultra settings, that's where the 8 gigabyte starts to lose it. But for people that can't afford, you know, graphics cards, but can't afford these, medium setting is just as good as the rest of them, I feel. So, and plus I've already ran tests on it on my 4070, and that's 12 gigabytes. And I already ran all the tests. It's on previous videos. So 8 gigabytes is enough, I think, because I only use between 5 and 6 gigabytes, and I can run my card at low to medium settings. But I have a trick. Trick is I use 1080p, but I use DSR, dynamic screen resolution. I can bring it up to 1440p or 4K. And do I need to change the resolution on the textures? No. Because when you change the resolution on the screen, it also changes the texture resolution as well. Tightens it up a little bit as you go up. That's why I use DSR. I don't need to change the resolution on the textures. I can leave them on medium or I can leave them on low. They look just as good. And I can even run frame generation. Turn it off. I can turn it on. And it runs just as good. Everybody says, oh, fake frames. Well, I'm running a 4070, so I don't think one frame is going to kill me. If it was 4 frames, it might be a different story, but I only got 1 frame, so it's not killing me. So, where am I from? California. Originally, Florida. Hello there, Rad Ray. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. Ray R, welcome to the channel. Good to see you here. If you don't have a GPU over 4,000, you're not a real gamer. I hate to tell you this. You don't need a GPU that's $4,000 to be a real gamer. To be a real gamer is for you just to have fun. Take away all the stuff that's in the world. If you loving your PC and it's working well for you when you play your games, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what I think or anybody in this world thinks. They could have a $150 graphics card and it still runs great for whoever plays on it. I mean, you can't judge everybody. That's their way of loving it. It's like the way I love when I play games. Yeah, all my screens are 1080p, but I can run it in 1440p or 4K, even though it doesn't look right to everybody. But believe it or not, I've did a lot of testing on this and showed you guys the difference. Okay, even at 4K, it looks good. And I'm only using low settings. When I play Cyberpunk, I'm only using low settings, and all I'm using is frame generation. No transformer model, nothing. Just those 2 settings. And I can move the resolution to 1440p and 4K. I like the way it looks at when I move it up to 4K. I like the way it looks. It looks great to me. I mean, you guys, I got previous videos on this. You guys go watch them. I mean, that proof's in the pudding right there. It's just people come in and they say, well, you do this and you do that, but they never watch my videos to see what I've done. So before you guys judge me, go watch those videos, because that right there is going to give you the clarity that you need. So let me read what else you guys got cooking here. At the low end, it's about getting the most out of your equipment, which is true, machine. NVIDIA has better software at the lower end. Well, I don't deny that. I haven't had a problem with their software yet. And that's the whole idea of today, is talking about the GPU driver chaos and the 8GB VRAM wars. But what's next? Oh, there, MTBK. Better software and worse hardware. Actually, no, I think it's 50-50. What I think the problem is that the problems they're having with the motherboards. Okay, ASRock's having a problem with the motherboards. Now, I think I heard that MSI's developing problems with their motherboards and stuff like that. It's ever since they come up with the AM5 series. And believe it or not, Intel's got their problems too with the 13th and 14th gen. You know, with the dying CPUs. But when they come up with AM5 series, it seems that everybody goes to the X3D processors instead of looking at the X processors. Me, I use an X processor. I don't use X3D. And this is the reason why. It burns up, period. I do content creating, gaming, and everything else off of an X processor. But here's the funny thing. I'm running AM4 motherboard with the 5700X, and I game and I do everything, and I don't have a problem. I got 64 gigs of RAM. I'm happy with it. It pushes my 4070 to the limits. See, that's the whole idea. I found a perfect combination. It's simple. So, let me read what else you guys are saying. Okay. So, Intel Arc B580 has better hardware than a 5060. No, they don't. I'm sorry to disagree with you on this. No, they don't. Because their software compatibility, they're still having problems with their software compatibility. You know, with DirectX 11 and DirectX 12. It's already been reported all over the interboob. So, you know, it's not like that NVIDIA has problem with every one of their drivers. They only got a problem with a certain few of their drivers. And it's only to a certain amount of people anyway. Because some people, I got people telling me that NVIDIA drivers are working great. I got some people that are telling me that it's working bad. It's a 50-50 split. It could be motherboard. And that's what I come up with so far is I'm thinking it's the motherboard issue. It's the PCIe connection on the motherboard. Some people are saying, yeah, might be. So just kind of think that through before you really judge. 5060 runs out of VRAM and has the worst ray tracing performance. Yeah, some people, they might like it for want ray tracing. Some people just want it for rasterization. I mean, the last time I used ray tracing on mine was about almost 2 months ago. That's because I found a different way to make everything look better on my screens without having to use all the latency in the world to make and work my GPU to the brink of breaking. Now, there's better ways to set up your visualization without having to break your GPU. So, but yeah, I can run ray tracing, but right now I just don't need it. I love these weekly live streams. Good to go there, MTBK. 8 gigabytes of VRAM should be reserved for display adapters, and 12 gigabytes of VRAM should be the bare minimum for any 50 class card. Actually, we can agree to disagree, but I think having a lower class card gives everybody a wider option. It could have been worse. They could have given us a 6 gigabyte of VRAM card and said, here you go. Like the 3050, they went 6 gigabytes on it. How many people you think bought that? Well, let's see. A whole lot of people bought that card. Even though that it started at what? 8 gigabytes? They moved it down to 6. Everybody bought it. But, you know, you can use the 5060 at 8 gigabytes and use only 5 to 6 gigabytes of it if you balance everything out. That's the whole idea, is you have to take the time and you have to have the patience to balance it. Okay, if you don't have the time and patience to balance it, it's not going to work for you. I wouldn't buy it. If you don't have that level of patience, I wouldn't buy it. That's being honest with you. But if you just want to plug it in and go, then that's not the card for you. For people that got the time and patience, the reason why they do is because they know what they have to work with. When it comes to graphics and everything else, you can get somebody with running on integrated graphics, and then they plug the card in and they're like, whoa, this is a totally different ball game now. Believe it or not. My 5600G, where's that at? This right here, turn it around for you. That's a 5600G on an MATX motherboard. That's a B450 motherboard. I can plug my 4070 on that with 64 gigs of RAM and have it run just as good as my B550 motherboard. And just like with the 5060, I bet you I can plug it on that motherboard too. So, something to think about. If you go over the frame buffer on the 5060, it is a slower card than the B580. If you stay in the frame buffer, then the 5060 is faster. So it's a tough call. Yeah, it is a tough call. But I always have a rule of thumb. And let me tell you what it is. 2 gigabytes always reserved for the top end. 2 gigabytes. So that means if I balance my 6 gigabytes out and I use 5 out of 6, that means I'm not hitting the top end. That means I have room to maneuver. It has room to fluctuate. So if I'm staying around 5 gigabytes and I balance out my my monitor itself and let my monitor do the work other than my GPU, which I do, you make your monitor do the work, not your GPU. Your GPU is trying to take and decipher the textures and is trying to plan it onto the monitor. Your monitor, on the other hand, if it has color control, use it on your monitor. Use the color control on your monitor. It's simple. Even on NVIDIA products, they have in the NVIDIA app. Now let me bring that up for you. Let me see. Let me bring that up for you guys. So that way you guys can see it. Alrighty, come on. Let's see. We go in the system. Let's see. Scaling. Okay. See, now I'm going to take you guys back so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Right here. Right here, they got scaling device. You can set the scaling on the display or the GPU. I suggest not to use the GPU because use your own display to do the scaling. That right there will give you better control over your textures than doing it right off the GPU. Because you doing it off the GPU, what happens is this. Let me give you a little insight what happens. You guys will learn what lag means, okay? Over a period of years of doing this for almost, what, 3 decades plus, I can tell you this. If you don't space out and balance everything that you do, like your monitor can do more things than you think. You think you need your GPU to do everything. No, you make your monitor do the color coding, do the color work. You make your GPU do the texture work. And then you make your CPU to do medium lifting of transferring the coding. So, making them all work together equally will make your system run very good and very balanced. And with using less latency, which mine does, I think I got mine down to, let's see, almost like 12 milliseconds or less, about that. So let me read what you guys got written here. So we'll get back to it. Let's see. If you go over the frame buffer on the 5060, it will slow the card down than the B580 standard buffer. We already went through that. So, can you give me your old PC? I watch most of your videos and comment on them. I wish I could, but I think mine's already done hit the neighbor's house. He got my old. So MTBK says, I wonder what's better, 192-bit GPUs with 6x2 gigabytes of VRAM or the 128-bit with a 4x3. Actually, not the clamshell, because using four 3-gigabyte chips, it's going to make those chips a lot hotter, because now they got to work a lot harder to make up the difference for that 12 gigabytes. So having more chips disperses the heat more, like a hotspot on your GPU, the GPU die. It's like a hotspot. When you got the evenly dispersed amount of temperature coming off of every one of those, 6 times 2 to make your 12 gigabytes of VRAM, it goes up evenly into the chamber, the GPU cooler chamber. Makes the heat go up evenly. But when you got it restricted around the GPU die itself, and you got it more constricted, I think it's a worst case scenario to me. I think it's putting more heat towards the GPU die than to have it dispersed around it a little bit wider and further. That's just my opinion. So about the display adapter, I guess I gotta feel bad with an 8-gigabyte GPU and 45-watt power budget. Don't feel bad, man. I mean, look, like I'm going to tell everybody, everybody has their personal preference of what they like. Truthfully, everybody has their own personal preference. I will never judge anybody on what you have. If you're making the best of it and you're happy with it, I'm happy with it. But, you know, if you got questions about it, I'll do my best to answer them. But in the meantime, if you're gaming and you're good with it, don't worry about it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're just upgrading because everybody's telling you to, do your own homework, use your own logic, and let yourself decide other than other people. I'm not trying to sway anybody to buy an 8-gigabyte card. I'm not swaying anybody to get a 16-gigabyte card. I can tell you my 2 cents on it and how I feel about it, but when I test them, I can tell you what I feel the fact is on it, of testing it on the low side and the high side of the field. People don't like the medium or low side of the graphics card because they feel like they're being robbed of what? Tree branches, foliage, dust, a little bit of smoke. But it doesn't miss one bullet when you have a shooter's game. I don't get it. I really don't. So, $192-bit bus with 12 gigabytes is faster than a 128-bit card with 12 gigabytes, assuming that they are both GDR6 or GDR7 VRAM. But the thing is this: then how come they can take a 9060 with 16 gigabytes of VRAM and have the lowest amount of transistors to the GPU die, but still overtake a graphics card that should be 20% faster than it? Basically like an overpowered card. AMD does that a lot with their cards. They overpower their cards. But then when it comes to you wanting just a little bit more power, they restrict you at the end. I mean, that's the reason why people go with the older graphics cards, is because some of them are not restricted. You can get more performance out of an older card than you can the newer cards. And that's sad as hell. Believe it or not, that's sad as hell, guys. I mean, some people are saying the 6950 XT is a monster. 6950 XT, which I know it can overtake the 4070, which I know it can ride right there with the 4070 Ti. I know that. So, okay, let's see who jumped into the pile. Kimpachi, hopefully I said that correct. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. 12 gigabyte graphics card or 8 gigabytes? Well, I got a 12 gigabyte. We're talking about the 8 gigabyte because the 9060 XT is going to come with 8 gigabyte and 16. In their lineup, I don't see no 12 gigabyte card whatsoever. It could have been nice if AMD and NVIDIA would have said, okay, well, we're going to be nice to you guys this time, and we're going to say, okay, we're going to remove the 8 gigabyte cards. We're going to make the 5060 or a 9060 8 gigabyte. That would have been perfect. And then had the 5060 Ti and the 9060 XT with 12 gigabyte graphics cards and 16 gigabyte graphics cards. That would have offset everything, and then everybody would have been happy. Trust me, everybody would have been happy if those XT and Ti graphics cards had 12 gigabytes of VRAM, which they would have the entry level 9060 and the 5060, and everybody would have been happy with that too. But they didn't do that. Now, did they? So, just saying. Depends on your card and what you use your card for. Agreed. Gaming with GTA 6 coming soon. I want to see how many y'all are going to be playing that for sure. 12 gigabytes at least for what you want in higher textures, yeah. You're welcome, no problem. GTA 6 will be a monster to run. Should be a visual showcase for RT. Well, guys, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy ray tracing. But I kind of figured a substitution around ray tracing in order to save me latency. That's one. In order for me to run my graphics card, I know it's a 4070. I was about to say a 9070, but I almost slipped, and it's not a 9070, trust me. But it gives me an advantage. If I want to run it in the future, I can. So it's basically the way mine's set up. I'm happy with it like that. Okay, even if I had 8 gigabytes of VRAM, guys. Look, don't judge a book by its cover, because you know the way the market's going to roll. And this is what I've been gathering, that even though, let's talk a little bit about the market. There's rumors going on around now that NVIDIA's getting ready to lower the amount of graphics cards, GPUs, they're going to send to the gaming market. Because now they're thinking about wrapping that up with data centers, with the GB300, the new data centers. And they're going to be doing that for an awfully long time. It's because when you got other reviewers complaining, screaming, and everything else, and making a very bad impression to these companies will turn around and give you the finger. And that's pretty much what they did, because they did all that bullying instead of looking at the community and letting the community decide their fate. No, they had to get in there and bully these companies. That needs to end. They need to stop bullying these companies, because now they're going to keep jacking the prices up. It's not because the companies want to do it, but they're being forced to do it because of guess who? Oh, the ones that got 1 million, 2 million, 7 million, 8 million subscribers on their channel, going around bullying companies and throwing dirt at them every 5 seconds they get a chance. I'm not doing it here. If that's why you're here, it's not going to happen. I'm being honest with you guys. It's not going to happen here. Company does wrong. Hey, they got to make up for it with the community. They got to make up, you know, they got to live with it with the community. I don't. But when I'm sitting there trying to, you know, do good for the subscribers and the viewers and everybody that should subscribe to the channel, you know, I'm doing you guys a service, a positive service. You want to hear something negative? It's not going to happen here. So if that's the reason why you're here, you're at the wrong channel. I look at the positive things. I don't look at the companies. I look at the hardware. If the hardware is good, I'm going to tell you. If the hardware is bad, I'm going to tell you. Either way, I'm going to tell you. I'm not judging the companies. They judge themselves with the community. I don't judge them. I don't need to. They throw their own dirt up in the air. I'm not going to be the one that reaches up, grabs it, and says, here you go. That's not how my channel works. I'm here to give you guys a positive outlook on things. And if, I understand if you guys don't think 8 gigabytes is enough, but that's your personal preference. But that's not the world's preference. 65% of the world that are still in 1080p, still, most of them, about 45 to 47%, still use 8 gigabyte cards. So, you know, what are you going to tell them? You're going to convince them that 8 gigabytes ain't enough? Especially when they're playing, you know, esports games. Truthfully, they can care less. If they got that card that plays the esports games, they can care less about how many gigabytes of VRAM it has. Because they play 1080p on a very high hertz settings. Like, what is it? 185 to 250 or some 600 hertz, something like that. But they play at 1080p. I'm not judging, as long as they're having fun, you know. So, just giving you guys that outlook. I'm not here to lose subscribers, but I'm here to gain your trust. And the thing is, I'm not going to sit here and crucify a company for no reason, especially if you crucify a company and have them pull out of the game. What happens if NVIDIA pulls out of the game? What are you going to do then? Who are you going to cry to? Oh, it's going to be all AMD's fault. No, it's going to be Intel's fault. Let's get to the realism of this. We want NVIDIA to stay in the game. We want them to do better. In order for them to do better, we have to tell them what the issues are so they can fix it. We want them to put out better graphics cards, but we want them to make sure they got stable software, which they had for the longest time until the 50 series. The 50 series has been nothing but a bastard child on their shoulders. And that's the honest truth. 40 series wasn't that bad. Come on, guys, give them a break. We had great drivers in the 40 series all the way up till December. And in January is when, guess what, the 50 series came in light. And ever since then, the drivers have been stable for me, and I put every one of them in. I've upgraded to every one of the drivers and not had one problem except for two of them. But they black screened and I had to hard restart my PC. Twice. That's it. Twice. But the drivers worked. They still gamed. They didn't have a problem. So this is what I'm thinking, that it's a motherboard issue when it comes to the software for NVIDIA. That's my conclusion to that. So, I do this because I'm reading what you guys have, because I'm wearing these and I got to look over like this. So don't mind if I'm looking over like this. Should be a visual showcase for RT. All right, well, what I'll do is I'll work on something, a video for RT, and give you guys a good look what it looks like on 12 gigabytes. So that way you can see that it's not that 8 gigabytes is being plagued. 12 gigabytes is being played. 16 gigabytes is even being plagued. If you got 24 gigabytes, you'll be running satisfactory for ray tracing. Don't know why yet. I'm still looking into it. So, now reviewers say what NVIDIA wants. Ray? No, they don't. They're sitting there bastardizing NVIDIA. They get a free graphics card. They got one 2 weeks before the launch. Just because NVIDIA said that, you know, hey, I want you guys to do a preview and do it our way, what's so bad about it? Doesn't mean you can't go back after the preview and say, look, we did the preview here and we did it the way they wanted to do. And then, you know, they would have made themselves look better and said, okay, now we did it our way. This is our preview. This is theirs. This is ours. They could have did a comparison video. Would have been perfect. But no, they didn't do it that way. They just jumped the horn, went off the handle, and started blah, 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 blah. You know, instead of them doing the preview video and then turning around and doing their own video and doing a comparison video, they could have did 3 different videos and they could have made a killing. But they didn't realize that. It's common sense. So, that's just my take on that. So that's the reason why I was sitting there waiting for the, you know, some of the benchmarks to come out for the 5060. I was looking at their preview and I was looking at the review. Yeah, I can still do that too if you guys want me to. I can take somebody else's preview side, take somebody else's review side, smack it together and say, here you go. This is what I found out. So I don't get it. There are use cases for 8 gigabyte cards that it is all you can afford. True. Just check Tech Power Up 5060 review in the video. The Wiz says Zotac RTX 5060 Solo is a great deal. Some reviewers are saying that now. I've caught 3 of them so far saying it's not a bad deal for the 5060. But you got the bigger channels saying that they don't like it. It's garbage. But look at my side of the field. I'm thinking of the guy that's down at the bottom that can barely afford, a computer. What can he do to make his day more gravy? Make it more happy? So that's why I dig down deep, guys. I don't look at the high end. I look at the low end. It's because that's where everybody is looking at, the low end. Nobody can reach for the high end. Nobody can reach up here to the stars for the high end. Don't expect 100% in the world to reach for that high end. No, they're looking down at the low end, down there at the bottom, to find something good. It's called like bottom feeding for fish. So, my graphics card gets over 80C. What should I have? If it gets over 80C, then it means that you're probably pushing it too hard on the graphics, or it needs to be repasted. Usually with the card that's a 3080, it probably needs new thermal pads, and it needs new pasting for the GPU core. So it'd probably be best to take it to a shop and have them do all that if you don't know how to do that. So usually that's about right, because with 3 years, I repaste my CPU every 3 years. I just did it about a week ago. So your GPU about every 3 years, that's about right. I would repaste it about every 3 years, just to make sure that it stays fresh, so that way you're getting the best cooling that you can get. So, just my opinion. So, best to take it out, clean it up, make sure you hold the fans and blow out the dust. And then after you get done dusting it and everything else, then if you can paste it yourself, I would get new thermal pads and new paste. That I'm gonna tell you guys, Thermal Grizzly is the way to go. He's got it down to a science with the thermal paste. Thermal Grizzly does. So I would go with that. That would be worth a couple bucks to get it. Especially when you can buy it on Amazon too. Something to think about. How long can a 3080 survive if I take care of it for every 3 years? Well, if you take care of a graphics card and you don't push it to where it almost collapses, trying to get every ounce of power out of it, and you run it at a stock level and you treat it well, you game with it nicely, and you can get a long time. I know some people are getting 12, 15, almost 20 years out of a graphics card. I got a 1650 here. I know that's not a 10-year-old graphics card yet, but it's getting there. But I got a GT 730. That's a pretty old one. I got one that's, I don't know. I think way back 2010 or 2012, somewhere in there. Yeah, a long time. So, yeah, if you keep it pasted and you keep it dusted every 6 months to a year, and you keep the fans to where the fans ain't dragging, yeah, it'll last a long time. It'll last a long time. So machine, I know that graphics card you were doing. That was pushing it. But yeah, that 3080 should last you almost forever. Right now, you can probably get, truthfully, another 4 or 5 years out of it before they start getting into to where they might discontinue the drivers for the 30 series. But that's not going to happen for another maybe 2 or 3 generations. So you definitely got about 6 years, maybe. I would estimate about 6 years. Not unless NVIDIA decides to jump out of the game in the next 4 years, which they might if they got this AI thing going their way. They just might jump out of the game altogether. But you got to remember, too, if NVIDIA jumps out of the game, AMD is going to jump out of the game because that's where their money is. Guys, they're not getting much from the gaming community. They're not selling as much as they used to from the gaming community. And the thing is there's been talk about these companies jumping out of the GPU market altogether and just staying with the motherboards and the CPUs. Integrated graphics, that is. Because they're thinking of Zen 6, the Medusa integrated graphics. That's supposed to be laid over the top of a 9000 series processor, if I remember right. So they're gonna lay on, I heard 64 CUs, as much as the 9070 XT right now. But the Medusa chip is supposed to be 1.4 nanometers or 2 nanometers, somewhere in there. They're supposed to be reducing it way down, the transistor size way down, to where they can fit a large amount of transistors for integrated graphics. So they're thinking about they're supercharging integrated graphics right now. Because what's going to happen, I know you guys don't want to hear this, but what's going to happen is Microsoft is already making the move, if you've noticed, towards Copilot Plus PC. You notice they're starting to wean away from the x86 market. It doesn't look good. I can tell you that much. RC 2021. Running a 3060 Ti, paid an arm and a leg for it. And a small kid too? Damn. That's a lot. Even if you pay a full-grown kid too. Well, thinking about it, maybe that might not, never mind. No, don't take that idea. You're not encouraged to do that. So if I play a game only 1080p with ultra settings while streaming, everything is good, I'm not pushing it. Not streaming, no. Because if I remember right, the 3080s, you're running H.264, you're stressing out your CPU, not your GPU. Because the 3080 doesn't have AV1 encoding. So you're using your CPU, not your GPU. When you get into the 40 series, you get into AV1 encoding, and especially with the 7000 series. On AMD side, you get into AV1 encoding. But the 30 series and the 6000, 30 series on NVIDIA and 6000 series on AMD, they don't have AV1 encoding. Not unless you buy a program that can substitute AV1 encoding, which I heard somebody say that they can do that through that way, but I've never experienced that just yet. But I can tell you what, with running AV1 encoding, my CPU sits at 44 degrees Celsius right now, and my GPU sits at 35 degrees Celsius right now. No lie. So, and I'm running an AM4 motherboard too, not AM5, AM4. So, just something to think about. $399 MSRP. Please stick to the MSRP prices. Yeah, I agree. Some people say don't die without a GPU. Yeah. But if you're left with no choice and you don't want to spend $1,000 on a GPU, which that's coming to the new normal, and the prices on graphics cards are going to go up from the entry level is going to be at 600. Your intermediate level, your mid-range, is going to be at least 12 to 1500. And your high end is going to be over 4,000 in the next couple years. That's what people are itching about. And if that's the case, nobody's going to be buying a graphics card anymore. That would end up killing the DIY market. Nobody would not want to build a PC anymore. Not with those kind of prices. I wouldn't even recommend it at those kind of prices. $2021 was a bad time to buy a GPU. Yeah, but 2022 wasn't. 2023 wasn't. The first half of 2024 wasn't. Just the second half of 2024 and 2025, no good. So, I have an i5 14 Gen F version. Well, you don't have the 7 or the 9, so you should be okay with the 14. Was it 14400? It's usually everybody's going 14400F or 14600F, somewhere in there. Yes, machine. Yes, machine. I know, I've seen this too, machine. The Medusa point. I know. That's one I was talking about. So it says, Mr. Machine brought it up. Oh, maybe I should just... Oop. Maybe I should just bring it up to you guys and let you guys read it with me. But okay, we'll just do that. We'll just. Oh, and if you guys want to get on Discord, just let me know. You know what? I'll do you guys a a favor, and I'll just take and create you an invite, and if you want to get on our Discord, you can. Generate new link, copy it, copied. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of figured it was something around there. Control V. Okay. There you guys go. If you want to get into our Discord, we're usually over there all the time. That's basically, if you want to be a part of the chat and the action, be there, which would be good for you. Yes, it was. It was the year I finally decided I would build my first PC. Oh, I got you. So, I really should have stuck with that GTX 1050 for a few months. But I had an itch after years of putting it off for the first build. Hey, all of us do, man. All of us do. The 3060 Ti is not a bad card neither. Yeah, I do agree with that machine. I do agree with that. Okay, let's get back to the basics, shall we? Okay, so now we'll talk about this for a minute, then we'll go to the other one. This says here. Let's go to here and everywhere. If I can get my mouse to work. There we go. AMD is preparing the next generation mobile processor based upon the Zen 6 Medusa Point APU. According to the industry leaker HXL, the new lineup will feature the surprisingly high core count, especially on the top of the Ryzen 9 models, which is expected to pack 22 CPU cores under the hood. The Ryzen 5 and the Ryzen 7 Medusa Point APUs will use a hybrid layout that combines 4 high-performance classic cores, 4 dense cores, optimized cores, and for efficiency. So 4 high-performance classic cores, 4 dense cores for optimized for efficiency. So that's more or less sounding like AMD trying to sound like they want to be like Intel. But they're saying it in a different way. Same song, different dance, guys. Ain't that something? Same song, different dance. Oh, and they'll have 2 ultra power cores. I don't know how they're going to figure that out. That's going to be a wild chip. As they show it right here. They show it right here, this big old chip. All right. Now I got to suck my eyeballs back in my head. Let's see. 22 cores. Initial performance hits trimmed down. The GPU might run about 20-25% slower than 12 CU's Radeon 890M used in earlier models. That don't sound good. 8 CU GPU is half the power current Strix Point with 16 CUs, but Medusa packs RDNA 3.5 upgrades, so it gets even the raw CPU power should appeal for slightly larger die size. Wow. Medusa Point's expectations is for integrated CPU performance in a thin, light notebook. In a thin, light notebook. Well, that kind of changed the perception of that. So it's looking like in a thin, light notebook. So I guess the perception of it being on desktop is not going to happen. Not just yet. Not just unless they do the same thing Intel did with, what was that, Meteor Lake? I think it was Meteor Lake they did that with. So let's hope it's not. Rad Ray, it's running 60C. Okay. RDNA 3.5, why not 4? No idea. Obviously, because they probably don't want to tell everybody you're not going to get the overclocking capabilities on that processor. But you can get a laptop with it built in, but you're not going to get the overclocking capabilities. So if they're building it onto a laptop, they're not going to worry about desktops at this point. So 3080 has encoder NVAC H264 or HVAC 265, better quality, lower bit rates. I could use this for stream. Yeah, you can. I used to use it, but it uses the CPU power instead of the GPU power. When I was first started recording with using integrated graphics, the 5600G, which I know you guys are going to think that I was totally crazy doing that, but when you get a camera and a computer for $600 and you're trying to get yourself on YouTube for the very first time, you do with what you can do with. Get what you can get. So with that amount of money, I was able to start recording on YouTube with, fully set up computer and a camera. So it worked out for me. Because the i5 1400F don't provide display you need to have GPU if you want to display on your screen. Yeah, we know that. You have to get the K version in order to get that. We understand that. Read the next one, Jay. Okay, well, let me go back to the other one and see what you had. I got to go backwards. Okay, I'll just read it to you guys to make it simple. With the 24 core Zen 6 CPU milled, expects Medusa Halo to enjoy up to 50% better CPU performance versus Strix Halo. Equally exciting is the information regarding Medusa Halo. UDNA, what they did was they took UDNA, come up with one, they took RDNA, and they took cDNA, combined them and made UDNA. So you got RDNA and cDNA combined into UDNA. So you got something they used for server PCs and something they used for gaming and pushed it into one. So, reading on. So, reports that AMD is upping the compute units, the CUs, from 40 to 48, an increase of 20%. Some Medusa Halos SKUs could get a 384-bit wide bus, 50% wider than the 256-bit on Strix Halo, a 20% increase in CU count, which, like I said, they would have to go to 64. if they wanted to make it work. And significantly more bandwidth will likely result in the massive iGPU performance bump. MLID expects the uplift to fall anywhere from 30 to 50%. That'll be something. But still, it's going to be not as fast as everybody thinks. To put this in iGPU performance in perspective, a 30% bump on top of the 8060S would put the Medusa Halo iGPU on par with desktop 4060 Ti. At 50%, Medusa Halo would comfortably outperform desktop RTX 3070 Ti per our 3D Mark Time Spy graphics results. Okay, machine, I read it. So, now that I read that, now you guys understand that the Medusa integrated graphics for laptops is just a 4060 Ti. Probably with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. I don't think I would like that tribute. Especially when they're not nailing their laptops at 64 gigs. That they're keeping them down at 32 and masking the amount of max RAM that you can put on your laptop. Now, I've seen some, they're starting to push up to 64 gigs of RAM, but it's the frequency. It's the frequency. In order to catch up with the VRAM, you would have to be running 1,000 gigabits per second off of your system RAM, which is not possible. And I went back and forth with a couple friends on this, and they said it's not possible for VRAM to be allocated on system RAM to be faster than VRAM. It's not possible. They would have to dedicate VRAM on top of the integrated graphics to make it work. Simple. So, just keep that in mind. Hello there, Solar Holler. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully I said that correctly. So what GPUs are we looking at? Well, I was looking at the 9060 XT, 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, and that comes out in what, 4 days, 5 days? June the 5th, supposed to be coming out, 4 to 5 days. So that's what we're looking at right now. And also, too, we're talking about the GPU drivers from NVIDIA. How it's not as bad or as everybody really thinks. Which there could be an easy fix to this. Just takes NVIDIA to make a small little change in the driver software to make it balanced again. But that's up to NVIDIA to find out that answer. That's not up to me to find that answer. That's up to NVIDIA to find that answer. Now, if they haven't figured it out by now, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's kind of right there in front of them. It sits on their lap, and if they can't figure it out, they got people with bigger brains than I got, and if they can't figure it out, then, you know, how are they going to take and fix it with the community? That's the thing. So, Medusa might be the new low end. It could be. It could be. I thought Strix Halo chips was for laptops. So is it coming to desktops as well? I don't know. It's kind of an up in the air kind of thing right now. Not too many people are talking about it, but it's out there that people are starting to talk about it again. This has been going back and forth for what, over a year, if I remember right? So it's still going back and forth. Some people are saying it is, some people are saying it's not. It's still going back and forth, back and forth. So. Yeah, that's true there, Gorov. Laptop can't compete with the PC because let me tell you why. Laptop runs at 1/4 of the speed of a desktop PC. Unless they push a new power block on it, which is about 400 watts, then it could be a contender with a PC. Could be a contender. Now, if they want to make it a really good contender, they're going to have to take and push a laptop all the way up to what? 1,000 watts? You think they're really going to push a 1,000-watt power brick onto a laptop? Not happening. Not happening. So, let me read what you guys got. Yeah, it depends on the person and their needs. I do agree with that. Yeah, if you're the kind of person that's on the go all the time, a laptop's really good for you. But if you're sitting stationary in a house, a desktop's a better way to go. Or really, a desktop is a better way to go because the parts are interchangeable. That means you'll have a better advantage changing your parts up about every 6 months to a year if you want to make it better improvements than you can a laptop. The only thing you really can improve with the laptop, depending on the laptop, would be your system RAM, or if you can, your SSD space, your M.2 SSD. But some laptops have been coming with them soldered onto the board now. So now you're getting a full laptop, everything's soldered onto the board. What advantage do you have there? Absolutely nothing. Well, we know you do, MTBK. That's fine. We understand you're the man with the laptop. There ain't nothing wrong with it. There ain't nothing wrong with it. If that's what you prefer, that's all good with me. That's all I'm saying. Because 9060 XT is PCIe 5.0. Yeah, this is where they're going to miss, everybody's going to miss the mark. It's 5.0, but it's X16. AMD is putting out the 9060 XT with 5.0 X16. Not X8, like NVIDIA did. NVIDIA kneecapped themselves when they did the 5060. They kneecapped themselves, especially with what was it, the TI version? I think some of them are X8s as well. Wow. But AMD said nope, they ain't doing it like that. So they went the 9060 XT with PCIe 5.0 X16. So we'll see in about 5 days what it's going to look like. I just built my first PC, but PC off for 5 days because I'm looking for good secondhand deal on graphics card. that can do both gaming and streaming and video editing, Photoshop, 3D stuff. Good call. Now, if you're looking for something like that, I got the, look, I'm going to tell you, I got the 4070. I do all that and a bunch of Cracker Jacks at the same time with the 4070. So, I don't know. What I can recommend is what I have in my PC, the 4070. But I know it's hard to get your hands on one now these days because the price done gone up and everything else. I do understand. So, by the way, my build is an i5-14400, 32 gigabyte DDR5, 6000 megahertz, Steel Legend, DDR5 motherboard, 750 watt PSU, 1 terabyte NVMe Gen 4 SSD. Okay, first look upon your NVMe SSD. See if it's PCIe 4.0 x4 or it's 3.0 x4. What I did with mine, I put my operating system on my PCIe 3.0 x4 slot. And my PCIe 4.0 x4 slot, I use it for a scratch drive, and I put my games on that drive. So that drive's independent of my operating system. So I'm running 2 terabytes off of my 4.0 drive, 4.0 x4, and I'm running my operating system off of 3.0 x4. The reason why is because I'm using Crucial for my operating system, which has a momentum booster on it, which will allow me to push high speeds off of my 3.0 x4 drive with no problem. And my Samsung drive, which allow me the right amount of speeds for the right amount of things that I'm doing right there. So, in a balance, both of my drives are fast enough, but split from the operating system. I put everything onto my secondary when I do my videos, and then I have a solid HDD drive, hard disk drive, which I store my videos on and take them off of my scratch drive. So it keeps it nice and open in the amount of terabytes I have on it. Just saying. That helps any. Congratulations, Michael. You got a gift, brother. From that machine, he gave you a free gift there. Well put there, machine. You're the man. Okay, now reading back. So the monitor is connected to the GPU and not the motherboard, because the CPU lacks the iGPU. Yep. If your CPU does not have integrated graphics, then yeah, you're not going to be able to use the motherboard as a video output. So you're going to have to either use a CPU with built-in integrated graphics, or you're going to have to use a discrete graphics card. Some people found that it's best to get integrated graphics on a CPU, because it's always a good backup for what you want to do. So, especially if you got Intel, you should be having a CPU with integrated graphics built in if you're a content creator. There's a trick. You can use part of the integrated graphics for your content creating. And I know you probably heard that from many people. And they still do it. And it makes it a better experience when you're content creating and you're using Intel. And you could be using AMD, NVIDIA, discrete graphics card as well. And still get a better experience when you're content creating, even when you're live streaming too, from what I'm hearing. So you can get the best of both worlds, just saying. So, just something to keep up on. And, you know, if you guys want a video on that, just let me know and I'll work something up for you. 5.0x16 is 4 times the data transfer rate than 4.0x8. Do agree with that 100%. Because basically, if you run a 4.0x8 PCIe lanes, it's like running 3.0x16. So you can take the amount of data that you get from 3.0x16, equal it up to a 4.0x8, and still, you know, it's still going to be slow. So if you run a 5.0x8, then it's like running a 4.0x16. So and if you use a graphics card that's 5.0x8 and you plug it into a 4.0x16 machine, then you're only going to get 3.0x16. That sucks. That's the reason why people are having a problem, because with their 50 series cards is they're plugging it into a motherboard, and some of them got the X8 PCIe lanes. They're plugging into the 4.0x16 motherboards, but they're only getting 3.0x16 speed because it's only X8. So that means it's 4.0x8, and it rolls it down to 3.0x16. Yeah, that sucks. So, yeah, I got the 7600 XT by Gigabyte, and I'm really happy with it. But I am running an older AM4, so no problem for me. Well, you know, I'm running an old AM4 as well. It's not that old to me. You know, I can take and say, well, I'm not going to go to AM5 just yet. I can take and turn around with my 5700X. I can pull it out, and I can put in a 5950X with 16 cores, 32 threads. And my motherboard will handle it. And I'll get more speed, and guess what? I just upped the game for my graphics card. I can do that too. With 64 gigs of RAM, I can do much anything. I mean, I can go right to the top and grab that $300 and some CPU, plug it in, and I mean, you can't complain about that. That'll definitely give me another 5 years. So I'm not worried about the AM4 platform. Everybody else is, oh, it's a dead platform. It's not that dead. It's not that dead, guys. I'm just telling you straight up, it's not that dead as you think. As you've been hearing from everybody else, it's not that dead. So. I can't select you MTBK for the gift membership. I don't know why. I have a budget of $300 for secondhand graphics card. What is the best I can get in this range? Hold on. I'll tell you in a moment. Well, let's see. Newegg. I'm going to tell you something. I don't like going on e-waste. I mean eBay. If you want to know, I tell you. Right here, $300. 5060 8GB, $319. That's with free shipping. This would be, I would trust this. 319, 5060, 5060, 5060, 5060. So, but if I'm looking for a $300 GPU, so let's say GPU's at $300. Let's see. Well, I can't get much there. I tell you what, Newegg is not like Amazon. Okay, so we're going to do in stock. We're going to remove deal options. Sold by Newegg. So we're just going to knock all the BS out of the mark. Let's see, what else? Let's do the price range, 300 to 300. And apply it. Well, this says you can't find much. $3060, 12GB. How about I go back and narrow this down a little bit better. How about I narrow it down a little bit better for you guys? Let's say $350. Let's be fair about it. Okay, so this is what we got. 4060, 329. 6600, 219. Okay. I think I spent $330 for a 7600 XT when I bought it. And that's a 16GB VRAM. Okay, so you're looking for 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Let's see what we can find. Truthfully, you got this one right here. You got the B580 with 12 gigabytes of VRAM, GDR6 for $300. It says save 20 bucks here at Newegg. So 5060, that's 8 gigabytes though. They got a 5070, 10 gigabytes. I can tell you, I would wait until the 9060 XT comes out before I would make this decision. Because at that price range, I really, 16 gigabyte card, you know, it's not really going to be possible to get it around that range. Especially when you're trying to do 16 gigabytes. $90.60 on launch day. Well, that's what I was telling you guys. I would wait till the 9060 XT 8GB and 16GB version comes out. Wait until like they said, the 9060. I do agree with that too. Huh. Well, I can tell you guys, for three bills, you'll be doing like this. You'll be going over there to eBay. Much as I don't like going here. Sorry, I really don't like going to eBay. No, I ain't signing in, you bastards. Let's see. Graphics cards. We'll find out. 16 gigabytes. Let's see. We'll leave all the conditions there. Let me remember. There are certain Quattro versions, NVIDIA Quattros, that I hear people are impressed about, but I can look in onto that. But if you're looking for like a 3080, probably a 6800 XT is really good too. But that's more for gaming. 6900 XT is not bad neither. But if you're looking for like a 3080, I don't think you want that. Well, I don't think the 3080 has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, to be honest with you. Let's do this. Let's just set the price. Let's just set the price at $350. There. 7600 XT comes up. A770 16 gigabytes for $290, which I'm not impressed about. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, guys, I was kind of distracted at the moment. Jawa, maybe. Oh. Tariffs. Well, see, the problem I have with the three fans is you're just buying three 92 millimeter fans and getting mostly plastic. I mean, this is 210. This is an oldie. Let's see. Has artifact issues. Damn. I was about to say for $325. That 6800 XT would have been a beast. Would have been a beast for $325. But do remember, what was it? That one dude that fixes graphics cards on here, he could fix that. And if he only charges like an extra $100 to fix it, that's definitely worth $4.25. Yeah, but if he fixes it for $100, man, it's really worth it. Nope. A770 Tesla V100. No. 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 Quadro P5000. That's GDR5X. GDDR5X is equal to GDR6 for $300 for 3 honeys. It's a PNY P5000 Quattro. Let's do this. PNY. All right, let's see what we got here. We got 2,560 cores, 160 TMU, 64 reps, 16 gigabytes of GDDR5X, 256-bit bus. Pascal. It's already end of life. Launch price was $2,500. $2,500. 3.0 X16. So it puts it right there with the 2060 and a 5700. So for 7% more, the A750, the ARC A750 would be better. So 18% more, the ARC A770 would be better. So for 21% more, the Radeon, was that 7? Radeon 7 is 21% more. So if you got the 7600 XT, it's 35% faster. But the 6650 XT is the same thing. B580, 1% faster than the 7600 XT. So you just keep moving up the ladder. Just keep moving up the ladder. Look at this, 5060, 8 gigabytes. 5060 Ti, 8 gigabytes. 51% faster. Ain't that something? Puts the 5060 right here, 35% faster. But the 5060 Ti is right here. You guys get the idea. You guys get the idea. So that's, if you're betting on it, that's what you get. 329. No. I already seen that it's slower than. No. I'm just looking, guys, because, you know, I'm getting a good idea. in original box for $250. Wow. So when they put in original box, make sure they're not sending you the box. When they say in original box, you could wind up paying for the box. So you don't want to be paying $250 for the box. Just to give you guys that little insight so you know. That's a catch-all 22 on eBay. Let me see. A750 is only 8 gigabytes of VRAM. Yeah, but you can get the A770 for a good, decent price too. I know. I was using it as an example, bro. GDR5X, 11 gigabyte per second memory on 1080 Ti versus 2080 Ti. I have 14 gigabyte per second of memory. Yeah, I agree. Because no PCI limit. Okay, I think I got it. Either I buy a 3070 Ti or a 3080. Alright, well. Yeah. Yeah. Or you'd probably be buying like what, a 5070, 3080, or 3070 Ti, 3080, 5070, somewhere in there. All right. You guys tell me what you're thinking about this, because truthfully I can tell you what I'm thinking about it. You know, if you're going to get a 3080 Ti, it might be a good deal for you. Could be a good deal. So, yeah, buddy. Could be a good deal. That was the P5000 that I was showing. The Quattro card, that was the P5000. I was using that as an example of low-end cards. So, I missed the model number. Well, it's the P5000. Because I have a friend who might want that. Oh, okay, well, yeah. I mean, if you look up the Quattro P5000, that's what it'll be. So if he's looking for that, then, you know, there you go. Little over budget, but I can get the 3080 Ti for $350. Yeah, well. Oh, you're welcome there, Seller Holler. You're welcome. Yeah. Just be prepared that some 3080s might need to be repasted. And new pads might need to be put on it too. Because I've been watching a lot of videos on people talking about the 3080, you know, having like needing to be, you know, well taken care of. So, you're welcome. No problem. Anytime, man. No problem. But, you know, guys, that's not the end of the world, okay? If you got a repasted GPU, there are places you can get it done. If they're reasonable, they give you the right, you know, paste job or pads. You make sure they do the right job, you know. They put brand new paste. They put new pads on. You can tell them, you know, hey, put some thermal grizzly on there. You know, I'm not sponsored by the company. You know, But, you know, I do like their thermal paste for some reason. Don't know why. Because I'm usually using the Arctic MX4. But it seems like, you know, I got something equal to that, and I kind of like the paste. Because it's really thick and it's really robust. And that's the reason why I like it, because it's really thick and robust when you spread it. So I know it stays there. It sticks onto the CPU. But that's just my point of view. Too many mining 3080s around the market, in the market. Yeah, I do agree. Is a mining card a total waste of money, or is there a hope? Or is there hope? There is hope. As long as they didn't mess with the strapping the card, you know, for the voltage, where they go inside the card and they strap it with a piece of wire or something and do a direct connection and bypass the resistor that controls the voltage module. As long as they didn't, as long as the card has the seal on the back of it, you know, and they didn't tamper with the seal, and it's not full of dust and everything else, and it, you know, I mean, yeah, because they're only running at a constant usage of just mining. It's just one set. It's like you're it's like if you're using like a trying to use a good example for you guys. Like a desktop server. Basically, if it's running constantly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at a certain constant, then basically it's long as it's not being pushed over the amount and it's running constant, as long as it's kept clean and everything else, yeah, it'll be fine. So, but it's not as long as it's been overclocked or, you know, overvolted to beyond its maximum capability. Yeah, it should be fine. Just make sure it wasn't they weren't using it in a wet environment. Sometimes people use their GPUs, that many GPUs, in a very hostile environment. You have to watch out for that too. So it's good that they, you know, if you do get one from eBay, then you can contact the seller and find out all this information and then determine where you want to go with it. So these are things that you can ask, you know, the seller of the graphics card. One year of mining card is 6 years of gamer card life. Yeah, I know. But, you know, you only can do what you can afford. And that's basically what you're trying to do. We all know the 3080s that they have a minor chip problem. I think they used Hynix RAM, VRAM, instead of using Samsung VRAM. Some certain year that they put the Hynix VRAM on the 3080 and kept artifacting and everything else, finding out that what was it, the VRAM chips were going bad, that they had to be replaced with Samsung, from what I heard. So I got that for like $45 though. 3080 only have Micron since they are using GDR6X VRAM. Yeah, but there's a certain model that there's a problem with. There's a certain model there's a problem with, a VRAM. that they got to replace it. I heard they're being replaced with Samsung chips, that you can replace them with Samsung and skip Micron. So, and they're GDR6X. They're the same thing. But I think they're a little bit cheaper than the Micron. So, just saying, that's what I've heard. So, but anywho, guys, it looks like we're having a lot of fun here. What do you think? We having a lot of fun today or what? You guys are quiet. What's going on? Y'all getting ready to gang up on me or something? What's going on? Just trying to get you guys a little. Maybe you guys can answer me this. Hello there, DV. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Nothing much. Nothing much. It just this crowd is growing after 2 hours. I'm trying to get everybody to come on 12 o'clock p.m. my time, which is Pacific Standard Time. This is the best time to get on here is when they first start the stream. Just saying, guys. And also, too, if you subscribe to the channel and turn your notification on, and don't forget about the like button, by the way, you'll know when I post a live stream. Because sometimes I'll post it out of the 1 minute blue. And if you guys want to be a part of that stream, I suggest you make sure you subscribe and turn your notifications on. Just saying. So. If just AMD starts supporting streamers, need NVIDIA will it could. I mean, look, if NVIDIA falls off the face of the earth and they just do deep learning, deep machine learning, and they're doing everything but graphics cards, then AMD is going to have to pick up the slack, and so is Intel. And they're not going to be able to pick up the slack for the next 4 years. It's going to be a tough road for them. They think they can pick up the slack now, but they're going to have to hire twice the amount of people in order to keep up with the community. And plus that takes a lot more inference off of the table. So basically we're limited to what AMD and Intel has. Not limited to not having the advantage of having NVIDIA and their graphics and the way they do things, and not having that on the table anymore. I mean, truthfully, we need more companies and we need more competition in this market for everybody to get a really big feel of what's going on. But right now, it's not happening. I mean, it's hard to get somebody new into this market. So, well, for handbrake videos and coding, the 9070 and XT are very fast. Raleigh from Germany says. For now. But we don't know for exact until it launches. NVIDIA is already killing themselves. The pricing, the cards. Yeah, but you can't say, this is the thing. You can't say NVIDIA is setting the price. NVIDIA is the only, all they're doing is they're telling everybody MSRP, you can't go below it. But they're selling the chips to the AIB partners. The AIB partners are the ones making the cards. They're the ones setting the price, not NVIDIA. NVIDIA gives them a minimal amount, and then after that, they can go nilly-willy. AIB partners are the ones that set the price to the retailers, not NVIDIA. That's where everybody's getting it wrong. You got to remember, NVIDIA makes the GPU dies, which goes over to the AIB partners. AIB partners are the ones that put the GPUs together. They're the ones that set the precedence of the price to the retailers, not NVIDIA. Everybody says, oh, NVIDIA stepped. No, NVIDIA doesn't. NVIDIA sets a price of the GPU die to the AIB partners. They get paid for the GPU die. NVIDIA does. After that, it goes to the AIB partners. And then the AIB partners builds the whole graphics card. And then after that, it goes off to the retailers. So whatever the AIB partner charges the retailer for them to buy it, then they have to buy it. So if the AIB partner says 9070 XT to the retailer and say each one of them is $700. So that means now the retailer needs to make their money. So now they got to charge an extra $150 to pay their employees. So now you got a $900 graphics card. Depending on how they work it, but I can tell you the majority of the money that's being made is from the AIB partners, not NVIDIA. That's where everybody gets it wrong every time. Just saying what I know. Because I know a person that works at NVIDIA. So. You know, because AMD graphics cards don't have support for streaming encoders. Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I do agree with you. Jay, do you take your CBD gummies today? No. Believe it or not, no, I haven't. My CBD is coffee. I didn't get a chance to get my coffee today. I'm dragging booty. So yeah, I'm kind of dragging today. Too expensive, I do agree. Not even the cheapest RTX 3056 gigabytes is selling either. It is really bad for NVIDIA right now. Like I said, it's not NVIDIA setting the prices, it's the retailers. Between the AIB partners and the retailers. NVIDIA is not setting the prices. Not unless, now hear me out. The only way NVIDIA sets the price is if they make a Founders Edition. None of these cards are Founders Editions. That's the only way they set the price, is if NVIDIA made a Founders Edition, which they didn't. So, it's the AIB partners and the retailers making the price, not NVIDIA. They're giving NVIDIA a bad name. You can't tell me NVIDIA is telling them they need to sell this at this price. They can't. By law, they can't. They cannot tell them they got to sell it at a certain price. Only the AIB partners can tell the retailers this is the price. And then whatever they sell it at, that's their business. But they can't demand one company to another. They can't demand that company to sell it at their price that they're requesting. Because that's not the law in the United States. The law is where it's free enterprise. So basically, if a company sells a product to another company, it's up to that company to buy that product and then resell that product to the community and whatever they sell it at. But your factory doesn't dictate the prices to the whole chain. That's not how it works, and it doesn't work here like that. It's against the law to do that. That's unfair. It's unfair trade practices. So they can't do it. The FTC would jump all over NVIDIA if they did that. That's the Federal Trade Commission. You guys know that. So, I'm pretty sure Intel will do something big. They are silent right now, cooking in silence. Yeah, they are, believe it or not, they are, because from what I hear, there's supposed to be a B770 with 24 or 32 gigs of VRAM. Supposed to be. Don't quote me on it, but there's supposed to be a B770. Yeah, a B770 with 24 or 32 gigabytes of VRAM. It's been leaked out there. Don't quote me on it. Take it with a grain of salt, guys. But it's been leaked out there, so we never know. One minute it's not, next minute it is. We don't know. That's why I say take it with a grain of salt right now. So, our RX 7000 series and RX 9000 series features AV1 encoding. Yeah, we already talked about that, bro. But if you're using something like the 6000 series for AMD, then no, it's not gonna constitute it. Or there's now with 30 series as well from NVIDIA, because it wasn't built into the GPU at the time that it came out, so you're not going to get with the 30 series or the 6000 series. So know exactly how good these are. I know, all I know is that the H264 is not as good as NVIDIA H264, but for recording with H265 is good. Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. You know, I do agree with that. So, Intel has basically stolen the NVIDIA hype at the moment. Yeah, pretty much. And AMD is selling out almost. Retailers are getting ready to be so greedy that they're going to bust a hole in your pocket, and it's just going to empty the change into their piggy bank. No, that's not what you said. You said retailers are getting greedy, so are the AIB. Yeah, I agree. 100%. I am in South Africa. Well, welcome over here from the United States, California. Welcome to the live stream. And even here, also not selling. Yeah. Prices are just so astronomically high. I don't expect anything to be really selling right now. Truthfully, I really don't. Other than 8GB of VRAM cards, like your 5060, not even selling. From what I heard on the Vine, that the 5060 is not really selling because of the discouragement and gamers being discouraged over the fact that a 2080, what was it, 2080 Ti or something, was just as fast as the 5060. Oh my God. So many things that I hear, it's just unbelievable. So, it's just, I mean, guys, it's crazy. Some of the things I hear. You know, next they'll be telling me that the 2060 Super is faster than my 4070. I'm waiting to hear that. That's nuts. I'm waiting for the fact that somebody's telling me that the 4090 is slower than my 4070. Or my 1650 is, my was it GTX 1650 is faster than the 5070 Ti. Unbelievable. Truthfully, unbelievable. These are the stories that I hear. This is the crap I hear day in and day out. Everybody was so focused so much on the hardware side of everything. When it came down to the software of the graphics card, everybody forgot about it till the last minute. And as soon as somebody said, and this is what they said, my drivers stopped working on my computer for my graphics card. Are you sure it's the drivers? It's not. It's your hardware platform that's the problem. It's because there's a little discrepancy in the firmware. Itch my foot. Sorry, guys. There's a little discrepancy in the firmware of the 50 series GPUs. It's not the software. It's the firmware. That's different. So you got what they call the VBIOS that's on your graphics card. I don't know. NVIDIA calls it SBIOS on the graphics card. But on the motherboard, they call it XBIOS. So I have no idea. I call it the VBIOS. Video BIOS on your graphics card. If it's not set correctly, it could trigger a cascade effect, which causes black screening. So that's something NVIDIA didn't put out there. And some people are claiming that there is a fix, but that's all I heard was there's a fix. That's all I heard. Still looking into it, guys. As soon as I find out, I'll let you know. But if it is a VBIOS firmware issue, I would suggest that if you're not happy with the driver updates from NVIDIA, that you message them and say their driver sucks, so that way they understand and they can bob their head all day. Yes, I understand. And they give you the middle finger at the same time. It's pretty much what they're doing. They're saying there's nothing wrong with their driver software. And guys, they could be right. You can't keep having bad software from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. It's not feasible or possible. It could be a VBIOS problem for the 50 series, but with the 40 series, it's not. The problem is that if you have an out of date motherboard with their BIOS, this can happen. If you're running, let's say, a 600 series motherboard and the BIOS is out of date by maybe a year and a half, and yeah, that could be a big problem right there. So get your BIOS fixed, and that'll fix your problem. So Tech Power Up suggests the RTX 5060 consumes 135 watts of power under load, 145 with ray tracing, and 20 milliseconds power spike is 171 watts. So the power supply requirements and energy bills are modest. Well, mine sucks up 200 watts of power. It does a split that's an overall between the PCIe X16 slot and the power plug that's on the GPU. So it's a split. 75 watts off of the PCIe X16, it pulls power, and the rest of it pulls from the plug, which is it's a 8-pin plug. It's not that 12-volt high power, guys. Sorry. I don't like that card. I don't like that 12-volt high power plug-in crap. 8-pin is good for me. Yipe. Anyway, was nice talking to you, but I need to get to work. Alright, take care, have fun, and guess what, guys? It is about that time anyway. Because I think I went over about a half an hour, but I was having fun with you guys for damn sure. And don't forget, I'm going to do a little bit of selling me right now. I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm trying to improve the channel. So, you want to help me improve the channel? Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to become a member of the channel, because it's got a channel membership now, hit the join button. If you want to join over there on the Discord, we have a public Discord, which is free. So you can go and join over there. I think I put the link in the stream, in the chat in the stream. So, but if you're gonna need a link later on down the road, just leave me a message on the video, and I'll be more than happy to send you a link to get you in here. So no problem there. And don't forget right here, Patreon. If you want to become a Patreon member, which I'm going to start getting this on the ball as well, because I'm going to start putting really exclusive stuff over here soon. And I might start doing some live podcasting over there on Patreon as well. So might be something to think about, guys. I'm thinking about doing this in the future as well. So if you want to be a part of that, there's the link right there. I'm getting better at it. I'm learning to point at the camera and not over here. But anyway, this will be the end of the live stream. How about that? You guys have a great day. And like I said, if this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget about the like button, because live stream, we do have a like button. Make sure you guys plug in on that like button, because if you don't, YouTube doesn't push my videos out there and we can't get new subscribers. We need new subscribers. So if you know anybody that wants to subscribe to the channel, be free to tell them, hey, come on over and subscribe. Help us get to the 1,000 member mark. We're almost reaching 4,000 watch hours, guys. So we need enough subscribers to balance it all out. So YouTube will say, okay, now we're fully monetized. Now we're through the next hurdle, the next milestone. Now our next milestone is going to be 10,000 viewers or 10,000 subscribers. And then we're going to work our way from there. That's our next milestone after we hit 1,000 subscribers. I know you guys are going to say, well, Jay, you've been doing this almost 3 years and you ain't got 1,000 subscribers yet. Well, I'm working on it. Trust me, I am working on it. I'm trying to convince everybody this is the place to be. There's a lot of people here that have a lot of discouragement with everything that's going on in the world, and they just don't want to hear this old song and dance from other reviewers that they can't get the information here. Well, you can get the information here. Because I'll tell you what, everybody that's in my Discord, they know I talk to everybody every day. And you guys can tell them that I do talk to you guys every day. So, you want to be a part of the Discord? I left a link that's already in here, and I will go back to see if I can find the link, which I think I got the link. Well, what I'll do is before I go, I will get you the link. And never no. Okay, we'll copy it again. We'll get you guys the link before I go. So that way you guys can get in on it. And I see somebody jumped in onto the Discord. And welcome, whoever jumped in. We'll see you in a minute. Let me hit this. And there. I sent the Discord link again if you want to get a hold of it. You want to be a part of the action and the conversation. That's the place to be. But anyway, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. But until the next time, and the next video, you know it is. We'll see you on the next one. And thank you all for showing up, and God bless you and have a great day.